Steven, let's do prospect update now. And I'm going to just throw more at you than normal. I just want you to give me an update a month into the season, your general thoughts on the trifecta, the 2023 draft trifecta, Connor Bedard, Leo Carlsson, Adam Fantilli. What are your general thoughts on how they're doing so far in real life, fantasy, whatever is on your mind?
So obviously, you look at Connor Bedard, 7 points in his first 11 games. He's doing a lot for a Blackhawks team that is still not very good. On the ice, obviously, a lot of fun to watch this group, just kind of seeing how the young guys are kind of starting to take over here. And Bedard's looking pretty solid. Right now, he's on pace for 52 points. I think my original projection was I'm still thinking like a 60 points was max, and he still could do it. But right now, again, projection of 52 points. His goal count looks a little silly compared to his assist count, 5 goals, 2 assists. But overall, I'm happy with what we're seeing from him. He's still trying to adjust to how to use his game to be effective. Obviously the skill was there, but we were doing so much projecting when it came to him being, the next superstar player. As opposed to a guy like Fantilli, who we just kind of expected to just go right in and have no issues and look like he'll be physically strong, good things like that. With Bedard, we're starting to see him throw hits. I wrote an article last year for Daily Faceoff on how he was an underrated hitter, underrated physical guy. We're starting to see that right now. But we're seeing with him just someone who's continuing to build confidence. He can't slow the game like he did in Regina. He can't do that like he was doing against like Slovakia at the World Juniors. He has to figure out ways to be effective because everyone's moving a lot quicker. And I think he's looking better, I think, with every game. So teams know to really kind of zero in on him, but the fact that he's got 7 points, 11 games, one of the best players for Chicago, I think is kind of what we expected. Go at Adam Fantilli, Columbus Blue Jackets. 6 points in 11 games, not getting the same hype, obviously. It almost feels like we forgot about him. I was doing my Calder, like looking at the top players, and I almost kind of forgot about Fantilli. And it's not due to a lack of effort from him. He's obviously putting up some good numbers. Again, 6 points in 11 games on a Blue Jackets team that it's kind of weird right now with Cujo doing absolutely nothing out there, and with Fantilli having to play some heavy minutes there, getting some good opportunities. I expected, we saw him play against pros last year in the World Hockey Championship, and it took a bit for him to really look comfortable. But right now, I feel like he's looking good. When he's playing against his own age group, against younger lines, younger matchups, I feel he's looking good. But I have no concerns there. Obviously, with I really wanted him and Kent Johnson to play together. Kent Johnson getting sent down to the AHL. I feel like they're missing that guy who could be that finisher, that skill guy who could do a lot of that offensive things. So I'd like to see him come back, but I do like that they're giving him with other young guys to work with, like Marchenko, like Voronkov, who's thrown some huge hits. I still feel like that's a pretty good lineup there. So again, no concerns here. 50 points for me would be A-okay for him. 45 points is currently his pace. And again, I'm still fine with that because I know what the long-term future is here. Leo Carlsson, though, has been very interesting. And it's like he's actually been very effective when he's played, but he's only played 7 games. He hasn't played every game. He's now getting in the lineup more often than not. He has 4 points. He looks really good for the Ducks. I'm very excited about him. They're giving him those opportunities. They're giving him good matchups. Not playing him on the first power play, to my understanding, but they're giving him good players to play with, whether it be Troy Terry, guys like that, who could be a good mentor for him. He was the one that I was really excited to see as, maybe the most NHL ready. So it was interesting when the Ducks, a team that has exceeded all expectations, have kind of decided we're going to take it slow here. He's not going to play every single night, but we're going to just kind of ease him in. And, dealing with an injury in the offseason or the preseason, I get that. You don't need to rush him in, and it's got to make sense. But I do wonder, though, if they are going to send him down to Sweden for the World Juniors. It's the local tournament. If they're not keeping him in the lineup for every single game, they don't necessarily need him to. But he goes to Sweden, that tournament. Again, home ice, he might play 23, 24 minutes a night. He would be such an important part of that team. So that's something I'd be keeping an eye on. I don't think they need to. Again, he's playing well with the Ducks, but if they still are by Christmas time looking at this being like every other game, we're going to see what happens, not going to commit to him playing every game, why not throw him there? Give him a chance to be a leader, get that confidence, start putting pucks in the net. So that's kind of where I'm at of these 3 guys. I'm pretty happy. None of them are struggling here. They're all got different situations, all looking good. So I'm happy with these 3.
Okay, very interesting takes. And yeah, Carlsson, the World Junior element is interesting just because the Ducks are playing well at 7-4 going into Monday's action. It's like, does that mean they're less likely to send him to the World Juniors? I'm not sure. And what really is fascinating to me is if you look at Columbus, if you look at Cole Sillinger, Kent Johnson,
Mhm.
Liam Foudy, Igor Chinikov, why can this team not develop its own forwards? And it's not like these are forwards they pick in the 7th round. These are their first rounders. What the heck is going on in this developmental pipeline? I feel like we need to do an expose on why Columbus is messing up all the young players' development. It's very strange to me right now.
It's weird because they got one of the best prospect pools, and like when I wrote about them, I'm like, I did a top 10 in the summer of the best prospects, but I'm like 12 or 13 of them might actually be full time NHLers like 3 to 4 years from now. They're just that good of a young core, but it seems like getting the success they need. Like Kent Johnson had over 40 points last year. Like he quite like I mentioned when we were at the NHL awards, I'm like, I feel like Kent Johnson got so disrespected by the Calder voters this year because he was consistently, in the top 10 in scoring, was doing some good things, and just kind of got no love. And it's like now he's not even playing. He's looking great in the AHL right now. But to go back to the World Junior element, a certain Boston guy that I think everyone's kind of surprised that Matthew Poitras is still with the Bruins, but he's played well enough to stay there. But if he starts to slump, do they send him back? Yeah, they've burned the first year of the NHL entry contract, whatever. But if they send him back, there'd be some things you need to focus on, being a bit more physical, but you don't really improve in the OHL, and that's where the NHL would be. But just being just this confident shooter, a guy that didn't shoot as much last year as we hope he would, going back and kind of being able to destroy the OHL again. Not fully convinced that's where he needs to be, but if he starts to struggle, it'd be interesting to see if Canada alone gets him for the World Juniors from Boston.